Traveling the Vortex.
We've joined the Doctor as he travels the Vortex and arrive at episode number 349. Harry Sullivan is a genius. I'm Keith.
I'm Sean.
I'm Glenn.
How are you guys?
Well, we're still here.
Why wouldn't we be?
Well, you know what, that big mysterious planet Nibiru was supposed to...
Naboo was coming towards us?
Nibiru was supposed to arrive on Saturday and destroy us all. So.
Was it going to be the Attack of the Gungans?
No, you know, I kind of... This is like a... It's like... They also call it Planet X. It's like a... Supposedly a missing planet from our solar system. That was supposed to come back. Mondos.
Mondos,
it was
wow, I got that. Wow.
It's supposed to be on its way back.
I was so close. So tired. Too tired. Sorry, go ahead.
Conspiracy theorists have been postulating this for years now. I used to... And always laughed at it then. And then it just suddenly popped back up. Apparently this was the day... Well, Saturday was the day it was supposed to arrive. We're all still here. So.
Yeah, it's funny how there's no build-up for it. And then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, this Saturday the world's getting in. You may want to clear your calendar. It's like,
well, the interesting thing about...
That's a smart way to do it, though.
Interesting thing about the article that I was reading was a newspaper in New York. There's a guy that specifically was touting this week, and there was a guy in a newspaper in New York. No, it was a radio program in New York. Asked him if they could do an interview last week, and he said no, he wasn't available until this week.
So
we're still here.
Seems appropriate.
Just a word of advice for all of you doomsayers out there.
Take credit after the fact.
Don't pick a day. That's if you want to leave it nebulous. Just, the world's going to end sometime. I can't fight you on that one. But saying Thursday, you know, I kind of feel like you're saying any movie that deals with the future and puts a date on it, and then that date comes and goes, and we kind of go, wow, are they wrong? That's kind of what we do with you guys.
But harder.
Yeah.
We laugh much harder.
Why do people listen to the religious nut jobs when it comes down to, this is the thing that's going to happen? And the scientists all go, no, it isn't. But then the scientists, and they've been proven right time and time and time again. The scientists know what they're talking about. But then the scientists say, you know, this global warming thing, this is kind of a bad thing. Everyone goes, you're a scientist. What do you know?
Yeah.
Look at the track record. They've been pretty good so far. I don't get it.
You heard about the rapper that's started a GoFundMe page to pay for a rocket to go up and prove that the Earth is flat. It's called like showmethecurvature.com or something like that.
I support this fully. I won't donate any money to it. But if the flat earthers want to donate their money to it, I am all for this.
And then go up in a rocket.
Yep.
Sounds good.
They can just
go up and never come back down.
Well, no, maybe they'll go up there and figure, it is round.
I don't understand. We landed back where we came from. But the apes have taken over. Wait, isn't there? Didn't I hear something that there's a reality TV show that somebody's challenged the flat earthers to go out and find the edge? We'll send a camera crew with you. Here, just somebody volunteer. Let's go do it.
We watched Broadchurch season 2. It's good. It's really good. It's not as good as season 1, but it's dealing with different things and it's continuation of all the characters, and so it's really good television. To say it's less, yeah, that's true, but to make that sound disparaging is not accurate to the season. It's still really, really good. It's pretty much all we did.
So Wednesday, Mel won tickets to the Renfest from the radio. And we were like, yay! Because we had planned on going this weekend. So I was like, free tickets, that's great.
Good timing.
And then that put her into the grand prize drawing. And she got that call Friday that she won the grand prize.
She has really good luck at these things.
Doesn't she? I told her, I was like, this is not the first time that you've double dipped.
Well, and even just winning the drive-in tickets not that long ago.
So the grand prize is like another set of tickets to Renfest and tickets to the World War I. It's a whole Kansas City package. So then Saturday, we went to Renfest and kind of petered out about 2 o'clock or so. And then Sunday, we went to see Kenny Rogers in Lawrence. Took my mom out to eat and went to see Kenny. And I kind of have mixed feelings on this one because I don't like country at all. Like, just, no, it's not my thing. It's not my scene. But and people are like, why would you go see? Because it's Kenny Rogers. I mean, I would, yeah. I'll go pay to see Kenny Rogers. And Kenny, he's a hoot. The man is so much, he's kind of like Bob Ross. He's just got that rhythm and that cadence that you just want to listen to him talk and then maybe drift off to sleep. Even though he's being amusing and funny. He had a lovely co-guest, what is her name? Linda Davis, who I'd never heard of. But she came out and did a couple numbers with him. And she sounded like Dolly Parton. And so we had a good time. That was a lot of fun. And today we went out and caught a matinee of Kingsman Golden Circle.
Oh, how was it?
I haven't made up my mind yet. It's good. It's enjoyable. It's not as much fun as the first one. I really like the first one. And this one almost feels overstuffed. Mel loved it. She just loved it. But yeah, I'm not sure yet. I got to percolate a little bit longer, I think.
What do we got in the news?
Well, over in the UK, Doctor Who fans are going to be getting a special treats on November 13th. A 3-disc set by the name of The Demons of Devil's End.
Ooh.
So it is several documentaries, including Return to Devil's End, the 1992 documentary, and The Demons Revisited documentary. But then there is also a new drama production on it called The White Witch of Devil's End, which is kind of a quasi-sequel to The Demons, right, Glenn?
Yeah.
Did I read that right? So that's kind of neat. No word on if it's coming to the U.S.
Likely not. We still haven't seen Downtime here yet, so.
Now, that doesn't mean it's not necessarily region-free.
Right.
It could be. Someone will have to let us know.
I actually saw Return to Devil's End, the documentary. It's got John Pertwee,
Nicholas Courtney.
DVDs,
Levine, John Levine, and I can't remember the man that played Mike Yates.
You would throw that out there.
Anyway, it's kind of fun to hear them kind of talk about it and about the filming of it. They even talk about Roger Delgado a little bit. And it's actually hosted by Nicholas Briggs. He does the interviewing and talking to them. And,
it's on The Demons, isn't it? Isn't that one of the special features that's on there? I thought it was.
Maybe. I don't know. I found a copy on the internet. So I did a review on my blog, too. Although it's on my old blog. So I don't know if that's still active or not.
Well, speaking of the Brigadier, Lethbridge Stewart have announced Season 5 titles, which include The New Unusual, written by Adrian Sherlock, who wrote The Playing Dead, A Very Private Haunting by Sharon Bidwell, and The Man from Yesterday by Nick Walters.
Ooh, good title.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, not that the others aren't fine, but that one grabs me.
So you can pre-order the entire range and individually, I believe, right now, too. So that's always exciting.
I'm looking forward to getting back into reviewing those.
We still have to finish up this series.
Yeah, we still have Season 4 to go.
Yeah.
Right.
Titan and John Barrowman made a kind of exciting announcement. John and his sister Carol have introduced a new character to the Torchwood comics in honor of Elizabeth Sladen. The character's name is just Sladen.
Ooh. That's kind of cool.
A brand new mysterious character. I'm sure we'll learn more about the character as they go. Looks like it has kind of a Captain John look to her and feel, from the impression I get. But once we start reading some of the Torchwood comics, maybe we can...
She'll be another time agent.
That's what I'm assuming, but they're being very tight-lipped about it. Starting with The Culling, #1, coming out October 18th, 2017. Big Finish announced, to no one's surprise, The Diary of River Song Volume 3. But some cool things in Volume 3. So if you remember last time, she met or encountered the 6th Doctor, the 7th Doctor, and the 8th Doctor. Now they're adding the 5th Doctor along on here. And Frances Barber, reprising her role as Madame Kavorian.
Ooh.
Will also return. So that's kind of exciting, especially those of us who have listened to the box set. The previous box sets.
But no Tom, huh?
No Tom yet. Maybe for Volume 4.
Oh. See what you did there.
Yeah, see? And moving along, Galley made some really big guest announcements. including Pearl Mackie, Matt Lucas, and David Bradley.
Wow, those are some big ones.
And that's in addition to Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred and all the others who had previously been announced. So if you can somehow scrounge up tickets now, good luck to you. But that is a really good get for them. Our last bit of news is the poll for October on the Goodreads Book Club is available to vote on. So go on there and vote.
Cool. Any feedback?
No feedback.
Let's move on to our reviews.
Nocturne. The Seventh Doctor, Ace, and Hex arrive on a human colony world beloved by the Doctor for its art and music.
That it?
That's the short one. The Big Finish one's really long. It's like 3 paragraphs.
I'll start because I think I'm the only one that liked this. Or did you want to give it a something?
Bum, bum, bum. I don't know.
I kind of like this story. I like the concept of the Doctor coming to a place that he loves to come, and he's been here before. I like the idea that out of adversity, art flourishes. I like that concept of this is a planet that's been at war. That, you know, the common thing for people to say is, well, they'll be over by Christmas. And, of course, it's been going on for 7 or 10 years or something like that.
Longer than that, wasn't it? Like 70 years?
Was it 70? I didn't think it was that long.
Really long.
It felt really long.
It felt long.
It felt like a long war.
Anyway, it's been going on for a while. I like that concept. I like the fact that he shows up somewhere and people recognize him and know that we don't know. I thought that was kind of a neat concept, too. I like the idea of this one guy trying to come up with this like ultimate composition and using alien tech, and ended up bringing something through from the other side that ends up killing him. And then I thought there was going to be this twist, and we were going to find out that the twin brother was actually him, and they had swapped places, and that didn't come to fruition. And then that guy died. But it was a different tick. You know, I suspected so many things from it, and it didn't pan out the way.
Yeah,
it panned out the way that I thought.
Totally thought we would get the
cool.
Spock beard guy, and no.
I liked the characters a lot. I thought the characters were really well fleshed out, especially the gal who kept questioning should we destroy it if it's actually art? You know, where is it art? The Doctor has to rationalize with her, and of course then she ends up kind of messing things up again there at the end. But no, overall I quite enjoyed it. It wasn't, you know, an out there story that you had to really think about. It wasn't one of the best Doctor Who Big Finish stories ever, but that was pretty good. I thought it utilized Ace and Hex relatively well. I kind of wanted them to have more to do, but I just kind of felt like they, you know, Hex getting captured by the police lady there off the top there. I kind of wondered how you going to get out of that. Although I was quite frustrated that he just didn't explain to her more of who he was or what he was doing. And none of that was going to hurt him. I mean, yeah, he's already unregistered. You're already you're already that far in. What damage is it going to do to tell the truth? You know. I like the fact that Ace and Hex are calling out the Doctor at the very beginning.
That is my absolute favorite part.
How they show up places, and he's all mysterious and doesn't give them the information, and then the interesting thing about it is the one time they show up somewhere where he's not giving them any information is the one time that he's just showing up somewhere to show him someplace cool that he likes. I thought that was kind of interesting too. No, overall, I enjoyed it.
That he and Ace, the Doctor and Ace, have that great conversation later.
Yeah,
pulling that thread back up. Which, of all the Doctors, this is the one that does this the most, and it's great to see him being called out on the carpet by the companion that knows him best and can see through all the stuff, all the crap that he tends to put up and hoops he makes her jump through.
And then him feeling a bit remorseful for doing it and expressing that to her, but then her kind of turning around saying, you know, it's all right. She's actually kind of likes that. So
and at this point used to it.
Yeah. Maybe it's more of that. Maybe it's more she's just used to it.
Yes, all those things that you said, which in a way leads to my frustration, because there were so many little things that they did right that I really appreciated, that I loved, starting with that conversation in the TARDIS. So we're off to this rousing, this is going to be great, you know? And then we land on this planet, and the doctor's like, no, I just like coming here and hanging out, and it's all about art and beauty and music. And okay, cool. Oh, except for this war that feels like it's been going on forever. And the doctor's been here several times. He's got friends here. It's like, why hasn't he fixed the war by now? It just kind of seemed like that's not something he would have stayed away from for the sake of the planet. It seems like that's something maybe he would have tried to. I don't know. I don't know why I got that impression. I just got the impression. And then,
see, I never did, because part of it, I got the impression, was the fact that because of the art coming out of it and how important this art is to galactic society, that the war is kind of necessary to provide that art.
Not to mention, you can use the argument that he didn't pop back and fix World War II, which is probably one of the most atrocious wars of history. I mean, there's a reason why he doesn't go back and stop Hitler immediately. There's a reason why he doesn't go back and in the Great War immediately. I mean, there are reasons for that.
Sure.
Usually when he drops into a situation, and I think Big Finish does a really good job of this, is this isn't right. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. And so then he has to fix it.
Right.
Yeah.
And normally I'd throw in with that, except maybe I've been tainted with the comics because we've had so many worlds that have been bright and colorful and full of music with Gabby and you know, just, oh, this is an artist's paradise. This is fantastic. And then this one's all, well, we only can make art because we're miserable. Okay, maybe I don't know. It felt like a contrivance almost, that in order to get to the art planet, we have to have this for that to come out of. I don't know, maybe not.
Well, I like the fact that aside from it's a nugget that adds backstory to the world.
Sure,
it's not a huge plot point.
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Other than the one guy having a tragic time going off to war and coming back,
losing a leg.
Yeah, all of those aspects of it are just elements to make the characters more fleshed out.
Yeah,
it's not a plot point.
To me, it
had
works.
it been a plot point, I would have had your issue with it.
Yeah, to me, it works with just for exactly what you're saying. Is it really kind of fleshes out this world?
Except then the next scene with the old lady in Hex. I assume she's old. I don't know. We've got to hurry up and get out of here before the Inquisitors, whatever they were called, show. And basically, we're living in a police state. The first encounter with the cop is set up, and it felt very much like we're being led down this path of, oh, this is like Genesis of the Daleks kind of fascism that's going on here. There's a war, and now we've got these people. Oh, but it turns out, no, none of that's really as bad as they made it out. And in fact, the what was her name? The cop turned out to be one of the best characters in the show, because she's one of those military people who does have an open mind.
She was the Oberst.
Oberst.
Kate Reaney, but I think her title was Oberst.
She's one of those military people who did have an open mind, and she wasn't so military rigid that the doctors, you know, those stereotype military people that I complain about all the time, because they're just always.
She wasn't. So why are you complaining?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But you're contradicting yourself here.
Well, that's the story contradicted itself a lot, because I liked this, but then I didn't like this, and I didn't like this, and I didn't like this, and I'm struggling to reconcile how all these pieces fit together, because they set it up like it's a fascist police state, but then she's not a fascist.
But
in fact, she goes the other way with it.
They didn't set it up that it was a fascist police state anyway. They set it up as that it was a police state, yes. But let me point out that there are a lot of civilized countries that have gone into police state mode when they've been at war, because that's part of war, especially when it's close to the home front. So that seems like a natural progression for a government to do, is to put on that police state as that extra set of security. I have news for you. We're kind of moving towards the police state here. Now, I don't agree with that for us, but there has been occasions and occurrences in history where a police state has been somewhat, maybe judiciously necessary in order to protect its citizens in wartime. So,
which is great, except then that goes back to Keith's point that it wasn't a plot point.
Well,
so why waste the time with it? I mean, I guess
I think exactly.
I
think exactly. Yeah, that you just said it because you liked the fact that she wasn't what you expected, and so that was a device in order to build her character. They put you in that situation where you felt they were going one way with it. They built her character by showing you her something different, that she was open-minded, that she did, she didn't just automatically become the villain. I think even I expected her to be the villain of this piece, and when she's not, and it turns out that she is more open-minded, I was very, very pleased with that. So I loved that element.
Yeah, no, I liked her character a lot, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that she didn't go down the path that I expected. The guy coming back from war. Okay, we've got Hex in another war. Okay, let's get past that.
Well, but he didn't go to war. He wasn't a prisoner of war. I mean, the only time that he was caught was because it was in a situation.
He brushed war. He wasn't in a war.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think you're giving it a fair shake. I think that's my problem with it.
I want
the
to.
things
like
that
I said, the things that I liked, I liked a lot.
You have a problem with it, I don't see as problems. Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's why. But I think part of it just there were so many shades and echoes of things that have come before in specifically the Seventh Doctor Hex Ace.
It did feel very much in line that it wasn't something new for this. This trio.
I feel like I'm in the Divergent universe again. There's another story, and I kind of keep hoping that the next one will be a little bit different or a little bit better, and they kind of all feel like they're in that middling. It's not that it was bad, it's just that it was okay. And there were moments that I really, really liked, and I wanted more out of it because I liked these moments so much that the fact that those moments are stuck in this middling story, now it brought those moments down for me. Is kind of, I don't know.
Okay.
I like the idea that
sell me on it, make it better. So
all these robots.
I don't know what I can sell you on when I've sat here and told you where you're wrong anyway. So
the fact that all the robots are the idea behind
the familiars,
the fact that they call them familiars instead of just servants or robots, and then the idea that they're given a feminine form because they're not as daunting of a figure. Then I just like that the thought process they took just into such a, while they wound up being the big cliffhangers, as far as the big threats, they didn't wind up playing a big part of it.
That was another thing I liked about it is it set me up to think that, especially by giving it the name The Familiars.
Yeah.
Because isn't a familiar like a witch's...
it's their animagus.
Yeah, animagus, yeah. So I was a little... that sets me up like, okay, these are going to be the bad guys. We've got these familiars that have turned to become evil. Well,
but not
some
really.
Were corrupt, but it wasn't necessarily... That wasn't, again, the big plot twist or the villain of the piece. And so I was quite pleased that we didn't go there. I think that maybe that's what I liked about it is I kept seeing trope after trope after trope dissolved as we went along. And that's what I appreciated, is that trope after trope after trope didn't end up being the trope, didn't end up being trope-ish. And so I thought that was really clever.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's too clever for me because I kept expecting and giving me the red herring over and over and over again. It was like,
see, I think
what is the story about?
I think you should have appreciated that more because of the fact that they kept leading you down these tracks that you often, but again, you often complain about.
I do, because they're tropes for a reason. But you can do that once or twice and pull the rug out from underneath you. But when that's all it is just a series of,
well, I don't think
you think we're going this way? No.
I don't.
You think we're going this way? No.
I don't think there were more than 2 or 3 anyways.
Well, there was the police state, which didn't happen. There was the robot uprising, which didn't happen. It just felt like there was this constant stream.
I think the other one for me would have been the switch of the twins.
The evil twin that didn't happen.
See, I never got that impression.
I don't think they
never thought of that.
They didn't lead. They never led you to believe that one, so I don't even think that counts in Sean's defense. They didn't, but I kind of set that up in my head that okay, this, I was really trying to think outside the box. Where are they going to go with this? And that ended up not being. And that was pleasing to me because I was like, okay, well, you didn't even go there with that one. So sometimes I listen to a story and I figure it out early on, and I think, and I feel rewarded when I'm right. And sometimes I listen to a story and I feel like I figured it out, and then I'm disappointed that I was right because it was too obvious to me. And this was one of those situations where a few times I kept thinking I know where they're going with this, and they didn't, and it was really refreshing that they didn't go with that. Now again, this wasn't the best story because I don't think they went out there and had any sort of unique original ideas, and maybe that's your problem with it, is there were no original ideas here, but taking retreaded ideas and then changing the narrative of where you think they're going with it. I think that was what the brilliance of this story was.
And then I'll be the first person to admit that I'm probably being very unfair to this story on the basis of I don't want to be unfair to it because I didn't get what I expected. But sometimes I like my Doctor Who to be kind of paint by numbers. You know, if you're going to set up a robot uprising, I want the robot uprising. That's what... Even the Doctor makes the comment, I don't like the robots. He's like, okay.
And once the Doctor doesn't like something, then you're kind of on edge and assuming it's going to go one way.
It's like that Dalek story where he's like, the Daleks are evil. And then they spent a whole lot of time trying to convince us otherwise. And it's like, no, they're evil. Well, that one turned out to actually be true. But parallel universe. I don't know. Like I said, there were a lot of things that I'm trying not to be super negative about it because I did enjoy so many things in it, particularly the characterizations, the acting.
The
I thought was great.
characterizations of Ace was always right. Sometimes she felt way younger than she should be at this point.
I think the love interest felt a little forced, and then she gets. I'm not even sure what happened, conked on the head or something in that kind of final conflict, and just kind of curls up on the couch and sleeps for most of the ending. Okay.
She ain't conked. I think she got...
Well, that's why I'm not even sure what happened.
Well, I got the impression...
She's not even sure what happened to her.
I think I got the impression that she, whatever the thing was drawing on that killed all the other people, was starting to affect her too. But fortunately, it was thwarted before she was fully affected.
So just left her in a weakened state.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
a little bit better.
That was the
than
impression.
The actual physical attack.
Because she's a little too, to me, she's a little too strong and tough to have just been conked on the head and then slept it off. I think that it was more of a...
Also, it felt like a concussion.
Drastically weakened.
But I did love the conversation that she had with Piano Man.
The old guy at the end?
The old guy at the end. So what are you doing? I'm bait. And he's just so happy to be involved in this plan.
Only about 3 minutes later, it's like, I don't want to be bait anymore. Oh, all right. Well, it was a good story. Sean hated it.
I didn't hate it. I totally did not hate it. Believe me, if I hated it, I'd have gone on and on and on about how much I hated it. It just left me a little flat, which was frustrating because there were so many things that I liked.
What you do to me on a weekly basis. When I don't like a story as well, you turn around and say, I hated it. So.
But you do hate things.
Turnabout fair play.
No, it isn't.
Let's talk a little bit about this.
It's only fair when I do it.
Let's talk a little bit about the Ninth Doctor stories.
I got a synopsis.
Oh, you do?
You do?
I do.
Wow. Let's hear it.
Team TARDIS are in hot pursuit of a monster they accidentally sent back to the 1970s. Or is it the 1980s? Only to find a colossal kaiju tearing up the Bristol Channel and unit out of their depth. A face from the Doctor's past may have all the answers. Next, the search for Jack's missing memories takes the TARDIS to 17th century Brazil, into the grip of slavers, both alien and all too human. Will Jack find what he seeks, or lose the trust of his friends? That's a nice thing about doing these with graphic novels, is I get a synopsis.
Bum, bum, bum-ish. Ish.
That's why you can't use bump, bump, bump as the...
You're right.
It doesn't work.
Well, because I feel bad.
I've been saying it for, 349 episodes now. You can't do it. You can't use that as a game.
Well, okay, how many golden bow ties would you like to give this one, Glenn?
Well, you usually do that at the end, too. That's the other problem I have with it, too. You kind of talk about it, and you say, I give it, X out of X, whatever.
I really enjoyed the first three. First two, however many the unit story was.
Yeah. I think that must have been a three-parter.
Yeah, this was my favorite part of this graphic novel.
Now, is it because of the story it told, or is it because all of our favorites come back?
Both.
Because
I think
a good chunk of me is because Harry Sullivan and Sergeant Benton, and then surprise, the brig,
yeah.
which I didn't think was going to happen.
In a post Fourth Doctor unit story. Yes.
Yeah, that part of it I really liked.
The fan service was great. It was really
I like this idea also of this guy who went in under testing and then doesn't get the full extent of the experiments, but it gets passed on to his child, and a lot of this is subconsciously done through his kid because of the connection they have and his love for Japanese monster movies. I really enjoyed all of that.
I did not see that coming either.
No,
I really thought it was the dad, and then to turn around and surprise us that, oh no, it's the kid that's actually creating these monsters.
Now, is it do we feel like this was just passed on because of the connection in the law? This was not meant to be a genetic
I got the impression
right?
it was genetic, but it wasn't on purpose.
Okay, so these experiments were much longer ago than what I initially thought then. Because
they were before he met his wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
They said that.
Oh, did they? Okay,
Yeah.
I must have missed that panel then.
Yeah, they said it before he met his wife. So
Okay, that makes more sense to
Yeah.
me then, because I was torn on that one, going, well, how long ago was the dude locked up?
oh, you thought maybe he had passed it along to him while the kid was already alive. Oh no,
Right,
It
yeah,
was,
it made sense genetically, but then I was like,
Yeah.
but what is the time frame here?
yeah, it's
that this
definitely
is-
genetically, and he had
He's just been recaptured
Right.
recently.
Okay.
Right. I like the premise of this. Was it Arbus? Was that the name of the group that
I don't remember.
was they were basically trying to do away with UNIT and
Yeah.
privatize the organization out to this other company, and the reason why it's a little obvious that's the reason that all of this is happening is because they're trying to make UNIT look bad so they could take it over and arbitrarily just take it out from underneath them. But so that was cool. Again, tropey, but I thought that was kind of neat.
I guess part of the reason why I also like it is a fan service reason, and the fact that it's a comic version of Invasion of the Dinosaurs.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
That I was a little surprised that nobody mentioned. We got this,
That they haven't dealt with
the whole setup with these monsters just appear and then disappear out of nowhere. And it was like, is nobody going to say, wow, this is really familiar?
Some of these are even like dinosaur-like monsters.
Yeah. And I waited and it didn't happen. I was like, okay, I guess we're just going to let that one go.
Maybe the whole Mike situation was too sensitive and they didn't want to talk about it. The Mike turning traitor in Invasion of the
Oh,
Dinosaurs.
yeah,
So the
'cause,
whole thing is tainted now.
Yeah, we don't talk about Mike. That's probably what it was. Thank you, headcanon accepted. We don't talk about Mike. I really enjoyed most of the Brigadier. Although his line about when he's explaining the plot and he's going on about the idea of these warriors being, astral projections and stuff like that. And it's like, aren't you the one that really kind of have the biggest problem with when we dealt with astral projection and
Only if you look at this from the TV series perspective that we had. Now, having the
It
Lethbridge
fixed- yeah.
Studentverse,
Oh,
I
yeah.
am perfectly fine with
Yeah,
this.
it definitely
In
fits
fact,
now.
all of the astral projection stuff in this, I was like, okay, Candy Jar Books has completely fixed all of that. Now, I turn around and watch the TV series and have some problems and issues, but this here, that fixed that. I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. I need to remember to ask Andy a question about the brig showing up in this, but maybe I shouldn't talk about it on the air.
Okay.
But anyway, it's I thought that completely fixed it for me. And so had I gone back like you and went to the classic series and ignored the books, then yeah, I would have had the same problem. But having the books as part of my universe now of canon, I'm perfectly fine with it. It worked just fine.
Yeah, I normally I would be like that. I took a page out of your headcanon
Much was it because I'm comparing the series to the books.
where you go, the series is canon, and then this is canon, and then this is canon, and so I kind of went through the hierarchy of that.
Right, the hierarchy.
Well, it doesn't fit with this.
The TV
but it does
series
fit
is
with
canon,
this.
and everything under that's continuity.
Right.
That's where that
So
comes
it's like,
from.
well, okay, the big finish, and you got to drop down here. Okay, now it fits.
Glenn, your question may be answered in the credits page.
Oh,
Alistair Lethbridge Stewart appears courtesy of Candy Jar Books.
hey!
With thanks to Hannah Heisman, Henry Lincoln, and Andrew Frankham Allen.
There you go.
Yay!
And a shout out to their website,
I
too.
love to see that everybody is cooperating on this and,
So it
and
makes me
sharing the
wonder
love
if,
and passing off. I guess if I'd have just done some looking in there, I never would have brought up that question.
Credit is where credit is due.
Yay! I am so excited that's hope there's some further cooperation with other entities
Yeah,
down the
absolutely.
line too.
That was a nice thing when the Doctor even makes the joke about Geneva. And, even I don't believe he's actually in Geneva. And then he walks through the door and he's like, where were you, Geneva? Damn it. I also really enjoyed the Ninth Doctor's the revelation that the Ninth Doctor gives the Brig.
Yeah.
At the end of this story,
Yes.
when the Brig says, you stayed behind and you said other people in a battle, he says, I've never seen that in you before, like a commander of field troops. And whatever the Doctor's line was about times change, that was really...
I never would have thought to pair 9 up with units.
I wouldn't
but
either.
It works so well.
It does work really well. Yeah.
And I like the new unit character that they added and carried on to the next story.
Okay.
Oh,
I liked her in this.
Next
story I was kind of mad on.
I'm making it sound like I don't care about. Yeah, that's just I thought she was fine in this story.
Why they carrying
her on, I guess I'll just need to give it some more time, because if she continues to carry on, because they don't drop her off anywhere at the end, as I can't remember. No, not yet.
No, not
She's
that
still
we
with
see.
him. That's right. In fact, he's accused of killing her right at the end of the cliffhanger. Yeah, that's what it is.
yeah.
Well, and what's the one story we did read with her in it?
Did we read one with her in it? Was that the?
It was a free comic.
Was that
day
that?
one.
Was that the short story one where he's on the TV show, and it's being hosted by the
Yes.
Sullivan
Yes.
character that he's befriended? And this will answer a lot of questions once we read these. Is that
Yes.
what you're thinking of? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I need to go back and reread that now that we're hitting the stories.
I was trying to remember.
It may not be a bad idea just to throw it in and...
I'm not
Actually, I
sure
think
where
it was
it's
a
supposed to
web
take
thing.
place.
I think it was a web thing, wasn't it? But it
I
ties
think it was
into
a
the
web thing,
ties
yeah.
into the Titan stuff. So.
Yeah.
Can we have more of her and less of Rose?
So I don't.
See,
What I don't like about it is they're setting up this weird thing with Rose being jealous of her, and I think
I
that
didn't
I
like
don't
that
want
either.
them going down that road. I think that's unnecessary. They did that with the Doctor somewhat when Captain Jack comes on board, and it's almost like we're just trying to flip that.
Yeah. I could see that. Well, I thought Rose was pretty much sidelined through most of these stories.
I was glad Rose was
Yeah,
sidelined
which
through
was-
most of these
so was I.
stories, because the characterization of Rose in the
You
Ninth
think
Doctor...
she was sidelined in that last one? I mean, she was
Well,
integral into getting into jail and getting the recording.
I
thought she was
She had
utilized.
some good action in
I
the
thought she was utilized really well.
She was utilized well in the last episode of it, because
Last issue,
the
yeah.
last issue of that arc, because the previous 2 issues, it's just her whining about how the Doctor is treating the guy that turned into a gargoyle.
Right. at the
seems to
beginning.
be all she cares
That's
about.
all she
is
cares about.
that guy.
And it's like, God, if you love him so much, why don't you marry him?
What's his name?
I was so done
Dean,
with her.
yeah.
Dean?
And then the Doctor lets her get arrested. And I'm kind of like, okay, see you later. And Jack's concerned, and the Doctor isn't. And I have to be honest, I wasn't either. I was just kind of like, good riddance. And then it turned out to be part of the Doctor's plan. And I kind of simultaneously went, damn it. Well, yeah, of course she had to be in there. Of course the Doctor's got this figured out. So it redeemed it for me a little bit. But I've not been impressed with the way Rose has been handled through this whole run. And this was not... It didn't fix much for me in these either. So
Even then, Harry got the kind of big heroic scene on that boat.
well, Harry deserves the big heroic
And he
scene.
punched the minister out.
Yeah.
That was the coolest bit. I'm glad to see Harry's got a little fire in his belly now.
Well, and then of course the next one is set in Brazil in 1882? 1682.
16. Yeah.
1682. And has mermaids.
Yeah, kind of a weird mermaid story.
Yep.
I thought it was cool.
I thought the idea of them leaving their slaver race and hiding out on Earth, I think was cool. I think it was neat that she has this warrior protector type guy that, because he uses his powers to protect her, ends up calling on the rest of their race to
It made
find
me
him.
wonder if there was, like, they talk about some demon or some ghosts in the area. It made me wonder if there was some actual legend that they kind of drew this off of to inspire the story, or
Well, I think
to do the thing Doctor Who does a lot of.
It's got shades of all the mermaid stories from
Yeah,
from
it just doesn't
that
seem
era.
to be in that type of setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's in Brazil. And
Yeah, I would think it'd be on the. I guess if this is, it looks more like swamp than coast.
could be. In fact, there's a lot of trees around, but yeah, in fact, it looks like it's in like the rainforest, maybe.
Yeah. So it just made me wonder if there was a different
The creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, something in there
That's
too.
more of the Well, I liked it. I kind of liked that we're finally getting a little bit some clues as to this mystery and why Jack's brain's been.
I like that Jack
Why?
and Rose got to go off and go do their own kind of thing and left, because I think the four of them dealing with these mermaids would have been way too much. I think it worked really well to send the two of them off to do their own thing and delve into the bigger overarching plot and leave the Doctor and the new person to deal with this mermaids.
I agree, and I liked.
If you're going to add a character, this is what you do. You split them up
Yes.
this way, which I
Yeah.
think works.
I like the fact that the way the mermaid plot worked out, that they were slavers and they weren't happy about it, so they left, only to be captured by a slaver,
Yeah.
who then in turn was captured by the slavers.
Right.
So you want to talk tropes, but it didn't matter because that was one of those fist pump. Yeah, get him, because this guy needs a taste of his own medicine.
Right. Right.
And quite honestly, didn't go far enough. He should have been locked up in a cage and put on the spaceship and treated horribly, and that'll teach him a lesson.
I kind of thought the same thing because even though all of this happened, that was the other thing that bothered me a little bit, is there are sea creatures and mermaids and magic water and mind control, and they're spooked off by a white stag.
Yeah.
A flaming white stag?
I
flaming white
didn't
stag.
buy that.
The legends are true.
By the time I had seen all of that, I'd have gone, okay, what's this? I mean, that was a little unbelievable, I thought, at the end there.
But yeah, so I enjoyed that story part. The Captain Jack story arc, I was actually a little taken aback by. It kind of went in a direction I wasn't expecting. That
Well, it's building to something.
Yeah,
it's building
it's
to something
totally-
big, which I like, especially that he's so guilty of what he's done that he just zaps out of there. Take Vortex manipulator and he's gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm real interested to
And
see
just
where
the
they
fact
go
that,
with
you know,
that.
when the picture shows up, you're like, okay, this is the big bad. This is the guy that's pulling the strings. No, this guy's dead.
Yep.
Or is he?
Yeah.
You know.
And that's the other thing I like about this, and I hope they go this route, is even with all the material, the Torchwood material and everything else, we don't have pre-dead Jack information much. There's a
Hardly
whole
any.
stuff to mine from when he was a time agent. Tons of stuff there. And so I'm kind of glad somebody's going down that route because, again, this is the Captain Jack that I like. This is the one I like the best. I don't like Torchwood Jack that much, but I like this. So I'd like to see somebody take, pieces of his past prior to, because he's had a lot of history since Bad Wolf.
Yes.
He's had a ton of history since
Which
because
is
he
what
continues
most
to
of
live
Torchwood
lifetimes.
mined from, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah,
Because
exactly,
It
yeah.
mostly mines from when
The
he gets
majority
dumped back
of it-
in the past.
the
and has to
majority of
live
it
all
is-
the
yeah,
way
he
through.
lives all
Because
the
he's
way
already
through
immortal
again.
throughout
Yeah.
Torchwood. So that's
We've only had the very small amount when he was on his home planet. Was the only bit I remember.
Yeah,
Because
that's right. We had that, and
I think that's pretty much it.
yeah, I mean, there's obviously been some history with Captain John,
Yeah.
and he was obviously a time agent at the time that Jack was, and that kind of stuff. So they've touched on it a bit, but nobody's really delved
Hardly at
into
all,
it.
yeah.
And so
I don't want to go too far out here to say this because they'll probably do it. And, Lord knows I can't afford another comic subscription. But now that he's left the group, which totally didn't see coming, I'd almost be okay with a Captain Jack comic. Like, just let him be on his own, knowing that eventually he is going to come back before Boomtown. So
Yeah.
now that we've kind of opened that window of how much can we shoehorn into this group of episodes where they were together. Well, what if they weren't together for all of it? Okay. So what if Jack goes off and has a whole series of adventures and fills in those gaps?
They won't do a Captain Jack comic. I bet they'll come back and that'll be.
I'm sure.
That'll be the whole series. You're right. I don't think they'll do that. What I do see them opening the door for is Titan has the rights to the Torchwood comics. I have a feeling they might cross some of that stuff over. Obviously, this Captain Jack can't be in Torchwood Captain Jack,
Right.
but I wonder if they'll drop enough stuff together to kind of give us this really broad backstory for Captain Jack between the two titles. That might be kind of interesting.
Or
too.
I haven't listened to it yet, but there's that Big Finish box set, and they seem to play pretty nicely with Big Finish of the lives of Captain Jack. And there's, at least based off the covers, there is young time agent Captain Jack.
Oh, okay.
Too.
So then there's some more.
Because he's at least in the vest that we see ahead of Boomtown.
Okay.
So
it'll be interesting where they're going to go with that. I mean, obviously they're setting something up, and then of course the big cliffhanger, but not to me not any different than the
hook.
the hook.
It's
a
a
more
hook,
of a hook than a cliffhanger.
And that's honestly, it was kind of unnecessary. I would almost rather just use those 2 pages to end the story, and kind of wrap it up, and then start the next story with, "What do you mean the doctor killed her?" But
no,
okay,
I
see where you're going.
I kind of like this. I kind of like the way they've done this. Not to mention we're running right up against issues that have just recently come out, right? So
they're up to what, 14 now? 15?
They've wrapped the run. I
Oh, have they
believe.
wrapped the run?
okay, so we've only got 5 more in this series then.
Yeah.
So
Or 6.
6 more. No, 5 more.
Depending on how many they go.
No, they went 15.
We went to 15.
They went 15.
So
Okay.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 5 more.
Which one was it that had a 16th issue? Was it just that 10th Doctor one?
That was that 10th Doctor went to 17.
Okay.
Last
Oh,
year.
That was
yeah,
last
that's what
year.
it was.
Yeah. So no, I'm very pleased. I think that the 9th Doctor series is going along quite well.
I think they've got the tone and characterization down for all the characters.
I think
really
they
well.
do too.
Except Rose.
I think they are under.
No,
I
her
think
annoyingness is in character.
I
with
think
the TV
I
version.
think this is first series Rose. I think it's dead on.
Absolutely.
I agree with the fact that she's been sidelined and underutilized a lot. But again, knowing that this is first series Rose, I think that's okay because I don't think she's as knowledgeable and assertive as she gets by the time she's running with 10. So
Oh yeah. Oh, and her with Dean is no different than her with Adam. It's pretty much the same thing.
I think that's one of the problems I have is we've already done that.
At least we have a different resolution.
it keeps her in character with it, though. I mean,
Yeah,
it keeps
but-
her. You don't have a stark contrast with the same era of Rose doing it this way. So
And they
I'm
can
fine
only
with
go
it.
so far with the character too, before they got to swing back to what's on television. It's not like one of the new characters where they can
Right.
range very far.
Yeah, no,
and explore
I
too much.
get
So
that.
they got to kind of stay in the same path.
It's just there are
It's
ways.
the same issue we had with Clara in the comics.
There are ways to write a character without rehashing this. You can write a character and reinforce behaviors without rehashing situations. And I feel like that's kind of where, in particular with Dean, I was like, yeah, we've already seen this. It's not going to work out. Move on.
I think the thing that they can do, and maybe this is why, maybe this is to the benefit of them adding the new companion, is the Doctor, Jack has blipped out to nowhere, and they could leave Rose somewhere, and the Doctor and this gal could have like 30 adventures and come pick Rose back up right after
true.
they left her there, too. So
She could go home
they
to
have-
visit Mum.
Yeah, they have the complete ability to do this. So I think that's an option here. And while all the other Doctors do have, with the exception of 12, all the other Doctors do have other companions. I mean, that are ongoing companions. This was their chance to give 9 another companion. So
It's true.
But we don't know realistically how much time passed between Clara and Bill. That's prime opportunity for the comics to come in and give.
well, they've been
they've done some of
doing
the
that.
one-offs.
That's what their whole.
Yeah.
That's what their
But it
whole
looks
thing
like Bill
this
is now
year
in the
was.
comics full time. So
Yeah, that's
But
what
if they wanted to go back and insert,
what-
it,
yeah.
that's,
Oh, yeah.
But that's what they
you
did
do.
for a whole year. They
Yeah.
remember we kept talking about how they felt like they were auditioning new companions.
which I don't think we've even finished that year.
No,
so
we haven't.
soon.
Yep.
hopefully.
All right, Sean, what do we got coming up on the schedule?
Well, coming up on the schedule, our Friday night Who offering for this week is from Peter Capaldi, Speak of the Devil. Going to do Under the Lake and Before the Flood, that two-parter. And that is, of course, still at the new time of 10:30. So if you can join us, please do so. Enjoy seeing everybody. And then the episode we've been warning you about for years. Our 350. God, 350. You believe that? I don't. Do we have the numbers right? 350, we're going to do a pledge drive.
Yay.
A tongue-in-cheek pledge drive. Some tongue, not so much cheek.
And what else are we doing that same week?
We're also going to be talking, we're going to give you a spoiler-free sneak peek of Candy Jar Books' upcoming Lethbridge Stewart spin-off, The Lucy Wilson Mysteries, Avatars of the Intelligence, which is the young adult book series that's going to be coming out from Candy Jar, starting, it's released late this year or next year. After the first
of the year, yeah. There are some special release copies that went out a few weeks ago at the Cardiff Book Fair that they did.
I think if you pre-order it, you get it before the first of the year.
Yeah, so
before the end of the year, if you pre-order
it.
So our good friends at Candy Jar gave us advance copies, and so we will be reviewing those and letting you know our thoughts without spoiling the mystery of the mysteries.
Right.
So be on the lookout.
And then
hopefully we'll whet your appetite.
We'll review it maybe again a little bit after the first of the year too, kind of give a little more insights to it.
Coming up, we're still looking at trying to figure out if and when Wheel in Space is going to show up on BritBox. We'll keep you posted.
But now it's fall. It's officially fall.
Fall
started last week, so now we're in fall, and that's what all the PR said. Coming this fall. So, of course, fall lasts until December 21st. So.
The next episode of Traveling the Vortex, now with more pumpkin spice.
All right, and you can find us at travelingthevortex.com. While you're there, consider becoming a patron of the podcast. On the right-hand side of the screen, there's a button where you can support us on Patreon. We'll be talking a lot more about Patreon next week. You can also click on some ad links on the right-hand side of the page, and a portion of those proceeds go into this show. You can also purchase podcast merchandise from Traveling the Vortex's Spread Shirt Shop. And how can people reach us? We didn't talk about that. Which, by the way, I ordered some and a shirt because I didn't have one of our new shirts yet, and there were no buttons in there. So now I've got to contact them and say, "Hey, get my buttons." So that's not us. We don't administer that store. So here I'm going. You might order something from our store and not get it. Keith, how can people contact us?
Well, while you're on the website, just click on the Send Us Feedback tab and fill that out, or just send it directly to feedback@travelingthevortex.com. And you can, of course, reach out to us on all forms of social media.
All right. Anything else?
We really like it if you like us. Please tell us that you like us, because we like hearing that. And if you don't like us,
give us an iTunes review.
Yeah, we haven't asked for an iTunes review in a long time. Yeah, definitely give us a review on iTunes. That helps that helps bump us up and get us more attention on podcast websites, places that aggregate our podcasts, so that we can get the word out there that there's another Doctor Who.
Is a big one.
There's another Doctor Who podcast out there, and we're already at 350 episodes. So.
And if you don't like us, well, drop us a line and tell us why. What can we do differently?
Yeah,
I'm always up for that.
Anything else this week? Until next week, I'm Glenn.
I'm Sean.
I'm Keith.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody.
Be seeing you. Thanks for listening.
You have been listening to Traveling the Vortex. Doctor Who and all of its associated programs are owned and trademarked by the BBC. No infringement is intended or implied.